But now some of those families are calling for the state to investigate a disturbing assault that took place at the school 4 years prior to the shooting, one involving former school resource officer Scott Peterson and the son of the sheriff. Local 10 investigative reporter Bob Norman has the report you'll only see on Local 10.
When gunfire erupted inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Broward Sheriff's Deputy Scott Peterson stood outside as 17 people were killed.
I think Scott Peterson is the lowest form of life available.
Fred Guttenberg's daughter, Jamie, was gunned down on the 3rd floor several minutes into the massacre.
My daughter would be alive if not for him.
One person didn't do what he should have done.
While publicly criticizing Peterson, Broward Sheriff Scott Israel didn't fire the 54-year-old deputy, instead allowing him to resign.
And he never went in.
Now he's in retirement, collecting a pension of about $100,000 a year at his Boynton Beach home. Scott, where I recently caught up with him. Why didn't you go into the school, Scott?
I'll call the cops.
Scott.
Get out!
It's the first time Peterson has faced the media since the shooting. Now a recently surfaced report has victims' families calling for renewed investigation.
I honestly, it infuriates me.
Guttenberg is talking about an apparent crime that occurred at Douglas exactly 4 years to the day prior to the massacre, when two 17-year-old students bullied a 14-year-old freshman in a revolting fashion, with one holding down the younger boy while the other kicked the victim, grabbed his genitals, and then grabbed the victim's own baseball bat and began shoving it against his buttocks, simulating rape through the boy's clothes. What makes the incident newsworthy is that the deputy who handled the case was Peterson, and the assailant who held down the victim was the sheriff's own son, Brett.
He could be charged with lewd and lascivious, and I'm being conservative. I never went to the prosecutor.
Criminal defense attorney Alex Arriaza said he believes both boys should have been arrested, but Peterson instead kept it strictly in-house and claimed in his report that it was a, quote, simple battery under the board's discipline matrix, giving both boys a 3-day suspension.
What is that? Is that like an alternative universe law? That what happens because you're in the school, you don't have to obey regular laws?
Anthony Borges.
Arriaza now represents Anthony Borges, a Parkland student who survived being shot 5 times on the 3rd floor. Arriaza said the assault is another example of the kind of lax enforcement that allowed disturbed school shooter Nicholas Cruz to avoid arrest in the years prior to the massacre.
I don't think it falls under any matrix.
In fact, the discipline matrix includes sexual misconduct and serious battery, both of which arguably apply in this case. Do you believe that the sheriff's son got special treatment here?
You will never see somebody grabbing somebody's crotch and poking some kid in the butt with a bat and getting a simple battery for it.
Borges' father, Roger, said he's also suspicious.
You can see in the records. It's like I tried to cover something.
Peterson writes in a report that the victim's parents were notified of the discipline taken and did not request additional law enforcement action. The mother of the victim confirmed that to Local 10, saying the family only wanted to put the matter behind them.
We would want to know if he influenced that investigation, or if Peterson did it if there was discussions about it with the sheriff.
Borges and Guttenberg both said the FDLE, which is investigating BSO's response to the shooting, should get to the bottom of this case.
I don't care if it was 4 days ago or 4 years ago. If people didn't do their job and they failed in their responsibilities, they should be investigated.
In Parkland, Bob Norman, Local 10 News.
And the sheriff did not respond to repeated requests from Local 10 for comment for this story.